What up, Scoops and Joelle? We're live here from Norman, Oklahoma at Loveworks. We're here just hanging out, me and Kendall, LOL. But hey,
Joelle, Scoops, I love you guys so much.
Hi, Joelle and Michael.
Scoops and Joelle, I just love you guys.
Oh, this is Caroline. Okay.
Joelle and Michael sitting in a tree. Praying. First came love, next comes marriage. Who knows? A baby and a baby carriage.
Going on a double date to Tara Humara's, and we had a great dinner, we had great conversation, and it was the first time my girlfriend had ever met them, and she's obviously not from here, but as soon as she got out of the car, she just said, "Oh my gosh, they are amazing." And I was like, I know, I've been telling you this for so long, because that's just the thing about Scoops and Joelle, is they're just amazing, and you know it as soon as you meet them.
Scoops, I think one of my favorite memories about you is whenever you were TAing my electrical engineering class, and I remember just right in the middle of lab, you got the call from National Instruments saying that you got the job. And I just remember the entire class was just so happy for you, so excited, and you were just so happy. And now you didn't give us the free grades, but I just remember being so excited and so happy for you, and so honored that I got to experience that. And
The car ride from the first encounter when I asked Joelle about discipleship and if she's found anyone to disciple me. And Joelle started talking about discipling me and just the things she said of why she wanted to disciple me. And just you guys both, your encouraging words towards me that I've just never heard before. And it was very empowering. And
another really good memory I have with Scoobs was Kendall and I went on a double date with Scoobs and Joelle. And pretty much the whole time, Kendall and Joelle did most of the talking, and Scoops and I just looked at each other like, yep, we are engineers.
one of my favorite memories is when we were in Waco last semester, and we were going to our house. We were supposed to go and so forth, and realizing we come up to the house and we don't know what the heck to do because they're not home. And I think it was just hilarious, that story, because we were about to sleep outside and eventually did.
Joelle, I think one of my favorite memories about you is whenever I first met you, before I even said hi to you, you just said, "Hi, Michael," and then you gave me the biggest, strongest hug I've ever gotten. I was just like, how could anyone that small give a hug that big? I mean, that was just crazy. But you literally squeeze any negative emotion out of people, and that is just so awesome. And I just love you guys so much.
It was during life group retreat. We all went out and evangelized, and Kendall and I recruited Scoops into our group, even though we didn't really know him yet. And we went to Goodwill, and we talked to this one woman, and that was a little moving for me. And then we went to Dollar Tree, and we were going to go inside, but on the way there, we got to talking about apologetics and all of these reservations that I still had. And Scoops put it into a perspective that I had never thought of before. And that really propelled me forward into becoming a Christian again. In fact, the next day I decided I wanted to be a Christian again.
It's one of my favorite stories of you, Joelle. It's just us meeting for the first time. It was so awkward, but it was probably like the best moment
My
of my
favorite
life.
memory of Joelle was when she just called me up out of the blue and wanted to know what was going on in my life, I think back in February. We just really got to know each other. Steve and I have been struggling a lot with boundaries, and she gave me just a lot of advice that really helped.
Whenever we were driving down to Texas, I needed a ride, and like Scoops immediately was like, "Yeah, jump in," and I just thought that was so great. So I cannot believe how amazing that ride and trip was. I feel like that was my first step to really getting to know you guys and really seeing who you guys were as a person and are amazing people at that.
And Joelle, your passion and compassion for others. You're so persistent and passionate for bringing justice, which is so cool. And it's something that's so, again, refreshing to be like, we talk about it all the time, but Joelle's right. We don't always act it out and carry out what we learn from church into the real world, and like we can't just tell people, oh yeah, like here's Jesus, and like here's this, and here's this resource. Well, that's what we're supposed to do, give them resources, but like, yeah, like here's Jesus, and not like actually give them any resources or help or anything, because that just isn't helpful. And just so that, and getting to learn from that from you, and I really think that you're going to just change the world and change Austin and do so many great things through social work and everything. Your gifts of just mercy and love are just whew, so good.
I remember the first time you came to Life Group. It feels like forever, but what I found amazing was just how quickly you stepped into Life Group and how much you've grown. And you've literally hit the ground running, and just to see how much you've grown since then to the leader you are now, again, like amazing. And I just knew from the moment I met you that you had the Lord's heart for compassion in you, and I've seen you live it daily.
Well, you are just such a loving person. I mean, you love people regardless of what background they come from, regardless of who they are, regardless of where they're from. That you just love people and show them how much Jesus loves them, and you are the example of what Jesus's love looks like. And I feel like I've grown so much in that area that I can love people better.
She's really awoken my heart to what justice actually is. I think a lot of times we just kind of throw our hands up in the air and we're like, well, there's too much to be done, so we can't fix justice anywhere. And we had a really good talk on our double date where Stephen and Michael didn't talk about, we talked about the obstacles with wells and all sorts of justice issues. And growing up, I always kind of thought that justice and helping the poor and things like that, those were kind of liberal issues and those weren't Christian issues. But Joelle has really taught me, just through her life, like she works 5 days a week at the shelter. It's just really incredible to see how much love she has in her heart for those that we often disenfranchise in society. So I think Joelle's really taught me a lot about that.
I would have to say, I love the way that you fight for people. You always look out for people, and like you always love hard. And so that's truly taught me to love people, like with no boundaries and to any extent that there is. And for Scoobs, it has to
Just show the kindness and loving nature of Jesus. And I just love that you do that so well, and I'm super excited for everything you're going to do in the future.
He's always there for me. We're both electrical engineering majors, so a lot of the time we're down the hall from each other. I'll be in lab, and maybe I'll come to a part where I have no idea what to do, and I can just walk down the hall and talk to him. And he's always good at offering advice. Sometimes I need prayer in lab, because lab is really hard. Scoobs, I really appreciate that about you.
Scoobs is how wise and kind you are. You have this gentle spirit that is just so welcoming and is so peaceful, and like just talking to you is always just so refreshing. And you're so strong in your faith, Scoops, and that's so cool. And getting to see a guy with that is just so encouraging too, because growing up, just not seeing many guys following their faith. But you are very just obviously in love with Jesus, and that's so cool to see. And how devoted you are to Jesus and to Joelle, and I think people are just drawn to your kindness.
Scoobs, you are the example of what a man of God looks like. From you, I've learned that a man of God does not have to be this big, strong person, even though you are pretty strong. That doesn't really matter, because it matters where your heart is. It matters how much of a desire, how much of a hunger you have to pursue that relationship with Christ. And from you, feel like I've grown so much, and I've learned so much from you. And I'm just so grateful that I've gotten to have you part of that. And
it has to be like the gentleness you have shown. You've shown me like how God is so gentle with us, and just how you live your life. You don't live your life running. You live your life walking, just how Jesus did. And I believe that's awesome.